of Asia in the automotive sector. A mammoth $23 billion cumulative investment by Samsung in Vietnam has turned this country now as one of the largest, most vibrant electrical and electronics sector in the world. Technology transfer, a $300 million investment by Intel in the late 90s now enables Costa Rica to get 60% of their export from very high value technology and medical technology exports. The FDI agenda is not complete without telling the jobs story. And jobs, something which is at the heart of this government's, the new government's economic priorities, something the Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Advisor Dr. Mahdi Amin, and many of you are working very tirelessly to develop. FDI is a great catalyst for high quality jobs, just not any jobs. Vietnam's FDI into the electronic sector created 1.3 million quality jobs. The Thailand FDI in automotive sector, for every one job created in the by the FDI, 3.5 more jobs were created in the local economy. In South Asia, in India, we see between a 50 to 100% wage premium for workers and staff who work in FDI invested countries. Going forward, this becomes even more critical. A number of growth drivers of Bangladesh are increasingly under pressure and generating diminishing returns. The macroeconomy needs the support of greater export and foreign exchange in order for Bangladesh to meet the increasing demand for energy and industrial raw material imports. Private investment, the single most important catalyst for economic prosperity, has come down to a decade low to 21.5%. Ready-made garments, which made us the proud second largest exporter in the world, also is exposing certain risks. For 13th year in a row, it occupies more than 80% share in our export basket. Sluggish job growth, again, something central to current government's economic agenda, manifested through high youth unemployment. All these make the FDI agenda far more critical than ever before going forward in order for Bangladesh to move to its next economic journey. The FDI agenda can also help. It can be in delivering the BNP government's election manifesto. It can become a catalyst to deliver, help transform a number of economic priorities that the agenda puts forward, from a $1 trillion economy to 10 million jobs to 35,000 megawatts of regular and renewable power to 15% of GDP, elevating the tax revenue to 15% of GDP, and creating infrastructure and industrial diversification. FDI is central, and that makes the manifesto's target of elevating FDI to 2.5% of GDP an absolutely timely and right target for the time. Now, where do we stand today? We have done well, benefiting from FDI in the 5 decades, since late 70s, 4.5 decades. We need it more than ever before. But let's take a look where we stand today and where we stand vis-a-vis our Asian peers. Bangladesh offers a number of strengths with regard to an investment destination. It possesses many attributes that the global investors seek: market scale, strategic location, dynamic workforce, a growing consumer market, a young, dynamic workforce. Global investors value this quite strongly, and this places Bangladesh in a strong position vis-a-vis the fundamentals in comparison to many emerging economies. But the big question is, are we able to convert these advantages into benefits? I think that is where expectation doesn't match the reality, or reality doesn't match the expectation. or the achievement doesn't match the potential. Bangladesh in 2025 has generated $1.7 billion of FDI. But in the same year, Indonesia did more than 21 billion, Vietnam more than 20 billion, and a smaller economy, Cambodia, did more than $5 billion. The FDI performance does not also commensurate with our economic strength or the growth of the economy. For Bangladesh, the FDI to GDP ratio stands at around 0.3%. For Vietnam, it's more than 4%. For India and Pakistan, it's around 0.7%. And this performance comes at a time when geopolitics is fast reshaping the global trade and investment landscape. According to UNCTAD, 76% of the global enterprises feel that geopolitics will be the most important determinant for their FDI decisions going forward, more than economic slowdown or growth, more than climate agenda, and so on. And the geopolitical, it is a great gesture by the government in the last budget approved in June. It has given a 5-year predictability, something investors around this room and around the country have been asking for, but we still have very complex and high tax incidents on investors. 23 agencies, 150 services, BIDA is making effort to integrate. However, there remains many more, which creates red tape opportunities. Now, how do we move towards the $15 billion vision? Bangladesh's constraints are well understood and increasingly actionable. Removing these barriers possess one of the greatest opportunities of time for Bangladesh to move along the economic ladder. And what is good is that all of these improvements that we have just seen are completely within our control. All Bangladesh needs to do is be more systematic, strategic, and be driven by structured processes, vision, and policies. So we have a number of investment climate improvement efforts, deregulation efforts, but what will be good in line with other countries who have done that, Malaysia, Brunei, Thailand, Vietnam, put together systematic reform, monitoring, coordination, and implementation measures. For example, FDI or Investment Coordination Council, dedicated reform team, not committees, reform teams, clear institutional role and accountability. Going beyond business as usual approach, that's no longer what got us here in the 4.5 decades, is not going to get us to the next level. We need to be more strategic, smarter, and that's where we need to introduce improvement efforts for global rankings. Those indicators I've shown, or global ratings position by Bangladesh, which greatly influence foreign investors around the world. We now have a great tailwind, advantageous geopolitical position. Bangladesh must take advantage of this favorable geopolitical position. We have a Japan EPA, we have a US trade deal. There are great opportunities offered by both, and we must be able to take advantage of these geopolitical tailwinds. And systematic vision, I think the BNP manifesto provides a great structured vision, but more is needed, like a national investment policy, national investment law, and many other structured areas such as that one. Now, reforms, I'll finish in next 1.5 minutes. The reforms we undertake today is going to give us the dividends tomorrow. And we have seen around the world more reforms lead to more FDI leads to prosperity. Just some example from around the world and what applies for Bangladesh. A 1% increase in trade openness through trade reforms can increase FDI by more than 3%. A 5% reduction in Bangladesh of tax burden on investors and foreign investors can increase FDI by more than 16%. And a 1% increase in FDI can help increase employment by 3%. Now, Bangladesh has repeatedly demonstrated that when bold vision and political ownership that we have today is matched by continued structured reforms, great achievements follow. The BNP has rolled out a very inspiring manifesto very inspiring motto since February, which the audio visual showed, Shobar Age Bangladesh. The reforms and the strategies we undertake today with regard to FDI is also going to determine whether Bangladesh becomes also the first in the minds of global investors when they think about their FDI destination tomorrow. Globally, we have seen FDI is like a sensitive, care-looking child. It goes where it feels safe and it stays where it is treated well. And overall, investment follows confidence and prosperity follows investment. Honorable Prime Minister, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your kind and patient hearing.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mashur Riaz, for that insightful presentation and for highlighting the key findings from the FDI report. The report clearly opens an important space for dialogue on how Bangladesh can further strengthen its investment ecosystem and competitiveness. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the ministerial plenary session. For this important plenary session, may I now invite our distinguished panelists and moderator to kindly come on stage and take their seats. Our distinguished panelists are Mr. Rehan Asif Asad, Advisor to the Honorable Prime Minister, Post, Telecommunication and IT, Mr. Khondokar Abdul Muqtadir MP, Honorable Minister for Commerce, Industries, Textile and Jute, Dr. Rashid Al Mahmood Titumir, Advisor to the Honorable Prime Minister on the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Planning, Mr. Chaudhry Ashik Mahmood bin Haroon, Executive Chairman of BIDA and BEZA, Mr. Tanvir Ghani, Special Assistant to the Honorable Prime Minister for Investment and Capital Markets. This session will be moderated by Dr. Mahdi Amin, Advisor and Spokesperson of the Prime Minister's Office. Requesting Dr. Mahdi Amin to take all the distinguished panelists and come on stage. Thank you, distinguished panelists and moderator. Ladies and gentlemen, this ministerial plenary session will focus on the policy priorities, investment realities, and collaborative actions required to create a stronger, more predictable, and more competitive investment climate in Bangladesh. I now hand over the session to our moderator, Dr. Mahdi Amin.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. Excellencies, Honorable Prime Minister of Bangladesh, thank you for being here today. I greatly appreciate FICCI for organizing this, in a way, historic event. Historic because the current government that we have that came in power for governance through a free, fair, and credible elections about 5 months back. And our Honorable Prime Minister, among his busy schedule, has come here to meet the foreign investors, and the foreign investors themselves have showcased the excellence, the global best practices, and their investment portfolio through him this morning. The panel that we have, the ministerial panel, this in itself is a bit unique one. It was supposed to be different. When FICCI approached me first time to have this event, it was supposed to be the investors talking and the policymakers listening. And in the last moment they changed it and they say there is a demand that the policymakers will speak and the investors will listen to them. I think the next time it will be more interactive. We both speak and exchange our ideas, but it is, in one way, is also testament to the incredible faith that the people have on the government and that the policymakers need to share the ideas that we have, the vision that our Honorable Prime Minister holds, which was manifested in the manifesto. If we see the panelists here today, we all have a bit unique portfolio as well. The portfolios that we have, those are blended with different multiple ministries and this is first time in the history of Bangladesh as well. The reason why Honorable Prime Minister has made these portfolios according to this line is to make sure the decision-making procedure that's more streamlined, right from policy formulation to the grassroots execution, those are done faster, in a transparent way, and there is less conflict of interest, and that the ministries work together, aligning with the manifesto commitments. We have seen that in result, which was transpired in many ways in the last 5 months, including the first budget, which is pro-people, pro-business, pro-investment, and which has tried to uphold and reflect the will of the people, the aspirations of the grassroots. Today, the 5 panelists that we have, they also represent multiple ministries and working together shoulder to shoulder to ensure a Bangladesh that is built together through equality, fairness, and justice. As we understand, the Honorable Prime Minister has an underlying principle in terms of taking the country forward. We want for the investors to build an ecosystem that will empower people to create jobs, that will create an ecosystem where the cost of doing business will go down, where the ease of doing business will go up. And towards that journey, let me ask some questions to our fellow panelists. Of course, I had some documents, but I had preferred rather to have an open conversation. If I ask our Honorable Commerce, Industries, Jute and Textiles Minister, who is having 3 portfolios, those are interrelated, but of course having distinct areas of functioning. So Honorable Minister, may I ask you please, what is the main agenda and policy framework you have to increase foreign direct investment in Bangladesh? Are there any particular areas that you want to promote? And what are the policies that will attract investors to invest in Bangladesh as opposed to the competing countries?
Thank you, Honorable Advisor. I'm a little bit uncomfortable because Mashur Riaz gave a huge presentation and most of the columns on the red under the Bangladesh was marked by the red color. I feel a little bit hostage in front of a very distinguished audience. We have assumed the responsibility under the leadership of our Prime Minister, who is sitting right here. We have admitted these challenges, accepted these challenges. And the pivotal challenge we have in hand is to convert this territory, this country, into an investable one, to create appeal to attract investment, not only foreign investment and both direct and domestic investment. We have quite a few agendas. First of all, we are going to create an easiness for the investors by simplifying all the processes that has been
I think the existing installed production capacity, 30% of which is sitting idle right at the moment, will be able to utilize that, and that will be a very big addition to the GDP growth and production growth, industrial production growth. Number three, productive policy predictability, which was absent for so long. And any investor wants to see a stable, predictable scenario where he can base his long-term investment planning. Under this government, we can assure you that you will see policy predictability and a stable, coordinated policy framework combining both private and public sector together. I think we have a lot of distinguished panelists here. I won't take more time. To put it simply, that we are working day and night to make this country an investable one, and you will see the reflection in the coming months and coming year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's very insightful. Thank you. May I now turn to the Finance and Planning Advisor? We all hear about reforms, and the BNP government has come to governance with two history contexts. One is, after about 2 decades, we now have a truly elected government having an overwhelming people's mandate. And other one is, if we see the history of reforms in Bangladesh, the 2 times which started was the massive deregulation in late 1970s by Shahid President Ziaur Rahman and early 1990s by former Prime Minister Begum Khaleda Zia. So that is the legacy of BNP leading reforms in every history juncture of Bangladesh. Now again, after taking the governance and being in office, there is massive expectations of reforms. And as we know, the reforms was clearly outlined in the BNP's manifesto as well. So built upon that foundation, as we move ahead, I would ask the Honorable Advisor, how can we coordinate among different ministries in terms of financial sector reforms, and what are the major reforms in the banking sector in particular? And also, we have seen a budget which has been appreciated quite a bit, because for the first time we have seen the commodity prices for major day-to-day commodities has gone down significantly. And we heard that Honorable Prime Minister, from his underlying principle, gave an instruction that all the day-to-day goods price should reduce through taxation implication, and that we should promote business and create policies that will facilitate private sector growth. So I would just ask our Honorable Advisor if there was any underlying conversations that he had with the Honorable Prime Minister in terms of making a pro-people, pro-investment budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, Advisor. Honorable Prime Minister, distinguished guests, and fellow panelists. Let's ask the question where the presenter ends, which is decades-low private investment, and why it would be a matter of the past. Because he was mentioning this has been continuing, but what and where are we going? What is the economic agenda that would lead to a transformative change? And as you all are aware of it, your investment advisors provides you a list. Does Bangladesh fit that list and earn a tick mark? The first question any investor would ask, predictability. Do we have that? Yes, we have that. If you really look at our national budget, taxes are announced for 5 years. So there is no kind of unpredictability on fiscal measures. The second question an investor would ask, how about risk? And this has been hesitating in the minds of the investor for decades, more than 17 years. That can we go there? And why is it low, 0.3% of GDP? and why it would go up to 3.5% of GDP. The answer is that Bangladesh now provides a stable environment, a stable business climate. The third question normally an investor would ask, what is known in media, the red tapeism? Do I need to go from door to door to secure permission? The answer to this question is that if you really look at deregulation and look at the deregulations, it reduces time, it unleashes energy, it shows you a path. The fourth question an investor would ask, do we have plan to ensure energy security and connectivity? And everyone knows that you can't have a energy secured environment when we have inherited a fragile economy. But look at the signals, look at the signs. We are heading towards energy security. The fifth question an investor would ask, how do I ensure that there is a regulatory environment that ensures capital repartition? Look at the rules, look at the regulations, these are there. So why these are there? That is the moot question that we have to ask. Because it requires a vision. It requires a transformative pathway. It requires a clearly articulated roadmap. And our Honorable Prime Minister has given that. Perhaps he enjoys the highest approval rating one could imagine in the world. What could be the most predictable, stable indicator like that? Because if you really look at the cases that have been shown from China to Vietnam to anywhere, it's about having a governance system that reflects people's mandate, that ensures legitimacy, that provides you a model where you and we and everyone can thrive. And this is what we have. And this is why everyone is confident that people have started talking about what is the destination where my investment is secured? What is the destination where my investment would be increased? What is the destination where my investment would have a multiplier effect? And these are clearly laid down. This is what is not about rhetorics. This is about walking the talks. And we have that in Bangladesh. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I will now turn to our ICT advisor. As you know, there are some signature programs like Family Card, Pharmacy. So how do you see the role of foreign technological companies, whether Bangladesh can become one of the leading IT hubs, at least regionally, and whether the huge demographic dividend that we have, the large number of young people, are they ready to be employed by global multinationals when they come here in Bangladesh?
Thank you, Honorable Advisor, and good morning to everybody. You asked a question what's very critical, not just for our country, but globally. And I'll give you a three-part answer. Number one, that the world is currently embarked on fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution is, the heart of it is connectivity and AI. And this is not just in our country, any country in the world. when we think of what is the next 20 to 30 years look like for the fourth industrial revolution, it's really critical to understand the connectivity, AI, and cybersecurity. I will start with policy. Then I'll talk about the infrastructure, and then we'll talk about our execution. When this government formed in February, we as a country did not have data protection law, cybersecurity law, telecom act. In first 60 days, this government has passed personal data protection law, national data governance law, cybersecurity law, and telecom act 2026. Because when we talk about foreign investment, when we talk about competing with the world, any foreign investor will first want to understand what is your law, what is your policy, what is your guideline. We not only did that, but we also worked, like I see a lot of people, foreign dignitaries to the foreign investor, to local partners. We worked with every possible stakeholder to make sure that we are not only developing a law and guideline which is just appropriate for our country. We worked with everybody that it's right for our country, it's right globally, and there was a lot of time and effort spent, and a lot of people in the audience has given us feedback, so I really want to appreciate all of your feedback, and we have our foundational base, those laws and policies. There are a lot of more work to be done. We are currently working on AI policy. We are working on cybersecurity policy. We formed a new cybersecurity agencies, but those work already started, and it's a journey, and we are committed to continue this journey. The second, I would highlight that where we started from. Connectivity is the heart and soul of today's modern technology world. We are 9th largest country when it comes to mobile connectivity from a subscriber point of view. But we are 93rd country when it comes to mobile quality, service, capability. When it comes to broadband, we are 20th largest country from a subscriber point of view, but we are 97th or 143, depending on which international index you look into. So when it comes to subscriber, we are top 20 country in the world. But when it comes to quality of services, we are the bottom 10th percentile in the world. We will not be able to attract and compete unless we improve our connectivity. We start working on looking into connectivity while we are visiting the stall on the back that Grameenphone, Robi, Bangla, Teletalk, all start improving the network quality. We just saw a demonstration of the 5G network. We saw that how we are rolling out the Starlink. And I want to highlight this thing very carefully that, see, Bangla is launching the connectivity with Starlink, that ubiquitous connectivity. Our government, that when we received this request, the American Embassy brought this to our attention. The Bangla has sent this request to us. Within 2 weeks from receiving the application, from all the approval and processes done, and they start piloting, and inshallah we'll be launching very soon. So this goes back to what Honorable Financial Advisor said to us, that we are really looking into opportunities where we cut the time and the cost and go to market and prove to the world that Bangladesh is ready for business, and we really committed to that. Second thing we'll say that our broadband position. Our broadband is one of the weakest link for our country. Our submarine cable capacity is one of the weakest link for our country. Our interconnectivity among the cities and the last mile is challenge for us. We understand that. We are putting together a plan. As we are improving on the wireless side, we also want to work on the wireline side, And our target is within next 18 months to 24 months to take broadband to 80% of the population with 50 to 100 meg and higher. Second thing I would highlight is that a country in today's world cannot embrace the future without having a DPI, digital public infrastructure. Sadly today, Bangladesh is probably one of the few countries in the world who does not have a DPI, digital public infrastructure. Honorable Prime Minister highlighted that in his speech in February 6th in the Intercontinental, when BNP released the manifesto, that we are committed to build that connectivity and we are also committed to build digital public infrastructure. We have started our work, and God willing that we will ensure that every citizen in this country, one citizen, one ID, one digital wallet within next 18 to 24 months. We already started this work. The last part I want to highlight that one of the fundamental challenges what we faced when I sit down with a lot of industry player, and when I was seeing Mashroor Bhai's presentation, I was thinking that on Sunday night, Mashroor Bhai and his team were sitting in ICT Ministry not too far from here, and we are talking about investment in the data sector, and one of the fundamental challenges that if you look into the tax rate in Bangladesh in IT and telecom sector, it's one of the highest tax rates in the world. For telecom companies, the tax rate is around 51%. For IT sector, the tax rate is around 25-27%. During the budget, we worked tirelessly to receive all your feedback, and the credit goes to the Honorable Prime Minister and the Finance Minister. We had a lot of draconian tax rate in the technology sector, which we are trying to clear out and reduce and be competitive in the world. Just as an example, we had a SIM tax rate, 300 taka per connection, and the government was generating 1,200 crore per year from SIM tax. Yes, it hurts the government revenue, but based on all of your feedback, we have eliminated completely all SIM tax. Not only we eliminated the SIM tax, we also laid out that over the next 5 years, what would be the tax rate in this IT and telecom sector. And the last thing I would share that globally there is an index called ITU Index, International Telecom Union Index. They start producing this index from 2009. Just last week they have produced this year number, and Bangladesh went up from 64 point to 68.2 points. 4 points, this is the highest ever increase for Bangladesh, yearly jump since 2009 that IT will start improving this index. And this grade goes to all of you who are sitting in this room and everybody who's working in this industry. We just started our journey. We are not there yet. And it will not be easy, it will be painful, and we have a lot of work to do. But what I can promise you, what Mahdi-bhai asked, that the fourth industrial revolution is all about connectivity, AI, and cybersecurity. We are putting together our policy, we are updating our laws, we are changing our tax rate, and we will do everything needed in the connectivity, in digital space, in AI space, to make sure that we are not only creating the next economy, digital economy in this country, but we are in the best in the world, inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the detailed policy pathway. Thank you for the policies. I will now look into Mr. Ashik Chaudhry, BIDA Chairman. We all know there has been an initiative to merge BIDA, Bangladesh Investment Development Authority, Bangladesh Export Zones Authority, and Public-Private Partnership Authority to one flagship entity, which is Invest Bangladesh, and that scope will go further as we move ahead. So what are the benefits for both foreign and domestic investors for having this one entity? And moving forward, how long will it take to get the new entity functional? Thank you.
Thank you. When you're young, if you have seen the cartoon called Captain Planet, where powers combine, you create a superhero. So we're precisely trying to do that. If you look at all the other markets which Mashroor Bhai showed as competitors, none of them have multiple investment promotion agencies. It's a very old school concept. We've had numerous feedback from the market, from FICCI, from Kotra, Jetro, anyone you talk about, that having multiple agencies and multiple touch points within government makes it very difficult for investors to figure out where do they go for problem X, Y, Z. So Invest Bangladesh was built behind that idea that if we build a stronger entity that has a stronger influence and a stronger voice inside the government, it will be able to uphold the interest of a lot of our investors. There's an interesting case study in early 2010s. Rwanda did very similar exercise. They merged all their investment promotion agencies. At that point, World Bank had the Ease of Doing Business Index. The next year, their ranking went from 158 down to 45. And the major factor behind it was effectively the merging of the agencies. So clearly there is a connectivity between what we are trying to do versus what we have seen as a success model across the world. Now, it also gives us some additional flexibility. We've talked about a lot of things, like getting the licenses done in 14 days. We needed the legal backing to be able to do that. You have seen we have tried to privatize a lot of our government assets, which we're not necessarily doing the best. And as we, as a team, do believe that business should be done by the business sector, we're here to help and facilitate. So this new law and this new institution allows us to privatize a lot of government's assets in a much faster pace. It also enables us to do things like free trade zone. And then finally, I think also in the presentation there was this idea of our ranking relative to the other institutions. What we have created as part of this institution is a research wing which will entirely focus on making sure we are well ahead of our competition in terms of rankings and future production. Now, if I may take this, this bill, as you have asked originally, the bill was passed last Thursday from the Parliament, so thank you to the leadership and also the parliamentarians for allowing us to do that. We do expect Invest Bangladesh to be in effect within the next 2 weeks and the new organization to start its journey. As we start our journey, I do want to leave a request to the audience. We all are very blessed to be here in our own roles. We don't take it very easily, we do take it very seriously, and we are trying, as you hopefully can see, trying to operate as one team. Operate with a very single-minded approach of taking the economy to the next level, creating jobs and bringing investment. What we do need is your help. We need you to be part of the team. As it has been mentioned many times that the existing investors are the ambassadors for us, not only in Bangladesh, but in the boardrooms of New York or London or in Davos. Anywhere we go, you have a much better control on the narrative of what Bangladesh is about. So be part of our team. Our request is, of course, please challenge us, please give us feedback, please say these things are not right. Ease of doing business is very difficult. Doing business in Bangladesh is definitely not easy. We will take those feedback. But at the same time, what we really hope that you will do is to share that we are trying to get better. We are trying to work as one team. We are trying our best to give the best possible investment climate in Bangladesh, and we're really open for business. So that's my request for all of you. Thank you.
Thanks very much for the detailed explanation. Thank you. I will now turn to Special Assistant to the Honorable Prime Minister on investment and capital markets. As you know, there is a new vision of having foreign investment in the capital market, and also there are aspiring local companies who are successful and high-flying to go abroad as well. What are your plans to facilitate both incoming and outgoing investments surrounding the capital market? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Advisor Badi. First of all, from a financing standpoint, let me just go back a few decades in terms of what's been our regular practice. Historically, Bangladesh has solved all its financing needs through bilateral, legally binding lending contracts with multilaterals, the World Banks, the IMFs. That system has worked and worked well, and here we are at $500 billion GDP. But from here, to a $1 trillion GDP, we will have to expand the scope of our financing needs and avenues. And that generally means going into the international capital markets, domestic capital markets. There's a ridiculously large size of pools of private capital that is hundreds and hundreds of times larger than the banks we have been managing thus far. So the objective of this administration is to open up these new channels. So it could be international dollar bonds in New York. It could be an equity-only Hong Kong-based fund. It could be panda bonds. It could be domestic bond issuance, equity issuance, but all of them with one intent: to help finance private sector companies in Bangladesh. And in the cases of the state-owned enterprises that Ashik has been working so hard, this pool of capital abroad, they are so comfortable looking at SOEs that go into the private market. This is a tried and tested model all over Asia. So the key for us will be to obtain alternative sources of capital and then make sure that capital is able to reach our shores, and we have the right taxation structures, right Bangladesh Bank repatriation structures, and I believe we should be able to bring in multifold of capital in this country going forward. If you just look at the last 6 weeks, since the new Securities Exchange Commission has been put in place, just 6 weeks, market has stabilized. It's up just below 11%. Trading and daily trading volume, which is purely directly related to tax revenue. That trading volume has gone from 700 crore per day to 1,500 crore per day in about 6 weeks. So I joke with our finance minister that we will do our part in making sure that the funding gap is provided by the markets, so we don't have to go back to the lenders as much. Thank you.
Thank you for the very helpful information. I'll now just go one round of concluding remarks, just open-ended. Anything that you want to share with the potential and existing investors, Honorable Commerce and Industry Minister, please.
Short round, you said, right? So I'll finish in a minute. The question is, do we have any other option other than the investment? No. The simple answer is no. Because we have to have a CAGR, compound annual growth rate, of more than 8% if we want to reach a $1 trillion economy by 2034. And in order to reach that landmark, that target, we have to have a very efficient market. That means our ECOR has to be improved significantly. Right at the moment, if we take the average of our last 10 years, our incremental capital output ratio is 5.5%. So we need to significantly increase the private sector investment, which has been hovering around 21.5% last year, to at least 33-34%. And the public sector investment may be increased another 2 or 2.5 points. Combining both the private and public sector investment, if we can take it to around 40 and then improved ECOR, we can expect to reach that landmark of $1 trillion economy by 2034. So in order to have that scenario, realize that dream and vision, our only agenda in hand is to convert this territory into a really investable one. What I and my colleagues told you in the last half an hour, we are not, none of this is soundbite. We are going to implement it, and we will, by implementation, this country, in next couple of years, you will see the investors from around the world are flocking together with investments in not one sector, not in ready-made garments, not only in leather, not only in youth, but in the digital economy as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Finance and Planning Advisor, anything as concluding remarks, please?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. We are, as we all expect, that we are to reach 2034, in 2034, a $1 trillion economy. And we have already embarked in a new model, a model that talks about investment, investment translating into employment, and employment giving us adequate revenue that can finance skilled, healthy population. We would like to raise our GDP in terms of education expenditure to a GDP in terms of 5% of GDP in health and education and 3% in social sector. Because for investment to have its sustainable footing, we need skilled, healthy human resources. Second thing that we are committed is about making sure that there is functioning institutions. Because we need a regulatory environment that is stable, that is predictable. And for that, we have been undertaking a series of reforms to have institutions that work for people, that work for its citizens, that works for its investors. Thirdly, as you mentioned, that we need connectivity, we need multimodal connectivity, we need logistics, seamless logistics. And this is where our Honorable Prime Minister is leading in terms of having a multimodal connectivity from Panchaghat to Chittagong, in terms of road, in terms of rail, in terms of riverine transportation. And we would like to transform Chattogram and Mongla as logistic hubs. And as you all mentioned, and the multiple reports suggest that we need fiscal incentives. Yes, if you really look at, we are trying to ensure that our economy is diversified, our economy is competitive, our economy is ensuring productivity growth. And for that, we have come up with a series of fiscal incentives. And the final point that was made by the FICCI president is about having dialogue. Yes, if you really look at, our Honorable Prime Minister has been having interaction with industrialists. If you remember, on 23rd of April, he had a meeting with all those investors, and then subsequently there are meetings with the investors. So what we have is a political leadership which would like to not only see but are working to transform the whole economy, which can cater to the citizens, cater to every citizens, and that could ensure Bangladesh before all. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for clearing the pathway, Honorable Advisor. I would now turn to the Honorable ICT Advisor, please.
I'll talk about one huge opportunity and one challenges for our future. When we look into the electronics, consumer electronics, computer, and all the manufacturing electronics industry, it's a $2 trillion economy in the world. If you look back last 40 years, 90% of this economy, when it was $1 billion economy or $1 trillion economy, 90% of those $1 trillion manufacturing has always happened in Asia Pacific, from Japan all the way to the Vietnam. Like you can think of Japan, Korea, China. Initially, if you go back 30 years back, Japan was much higher. Now China has much higher share. But 90% of this $1 trillion manufacturing always happened in Southeast Asia, in Asia Pacific. So, and this is expected to be double up in next 5 years. So imagine 1%, just 1% of this $1 trillion, $2 trillion economy is $200 billion. And why I see as opportunity, in 2015, Vietnam earned $1 billion from electrical and electronics industry. $1 billion. You saw it in Mashur presentation. Vietnam now earns more than $200 billion. In 10 years, from $1 billion to $200 billion. If a country like Vietnam can go from $1 billion to $200 billion, there is no reason why our country cannot achieve that. So just in this sector, this is a multi-billion-dollar opportunity, and I fundamentally believe that working together, we can achieve that. The challenges I see is our skilled forces to achieve that. What I mean by that, we need people who would be AI capable. We need people who would know the cybersecurity. We as a country has missed the opportunity to ride the wave of software engineering and a lot of other engineering. During last few years, Vietnam was not there. Cambodia was not on the picture. Compared to a lot of our neighbors, that we did not progress as high. What gives me hope, 2 weeks back, Honorable Prime Minister invited a group of 80 students. From grade 8 to grade 12, they have competed in Asian AI Olympiad, and 3 or 4 students won gold medal, and 4 of them are now going to compete in International AI Olympiad. We spent some time with those students, talking with those students who were from class 8 to class 12, from Dhaka to outside Dhaka to the Upajilas, give me the hope and conviction. The way these young children articulated what is AI, what tools they use, what machine language they use, how they build a platform, how they are thinking of their startup. This is a huge opportunity for us. So the challenges for us is that not just those 80 students, how we get all the students for our country, those who are in school, colleges, universities, ready for the future of the world, the future of AI, the future of cloud computing, future of data computing. If we can get our new generation ready for that, there is no stopping for us in moving forward, inshallah. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. That's an incredible journey ahead. Honorable Beta Chairman, please.
Thank you. My panelists have gone into a lot of details about the major issues, and I believe the audience also knows about the technical challenges. So I'll probably touch something else which is very core to what we truly value and believe in. Look, we're going through a very exceptional time as a nation, and we're on a very exciting journey. We genuinely believe we are on it. There's something very unique about Bangladesh, which I'm sure you all know, that it's such a young country that every impact you make changes thousands and thousands of people's lives today and possibly in the future. Now, this unique opportunity doesn't necessarily land on us if we just ask for it. We are very blessed and honored to have this opportunity to change this country at this point in time. And what we do believe is if we get it right, then when we grow old, we are able to show our grandchildren that, look, we lived through a time when we entirely changed the outfit of this country. And there's a song, which is a very famous song sung by Bhupen Hazarika, which says, Amra korbo joy ekdin. I genuinely believe that ekdin is not too far away. And if you all help us as a team, we can get to that ekdin for Bangladesh. Thank you.
Thank you. We look forward to creating that legacy together. Honorable Special Assistant for the Capital Markets, please.
Thank you, Madhuri. So I'll just expand on the financial markets a little more because there are some highlights that's worth of mentioning. The global financial market, surprisingly, is a closed-door world. They tend to just stay within themselves. But countries like ours, we have to tap into that world. And once you tap in, there is just billions and trillions of dollars available for countries like ours. So the question for us will be, are we ready, legally ready, emotionally ready? I often sense at the central bank or even the Ministry of Finance some reservations about this new world. So collectively, we're working together to make sure that we're all on the same page, we all have the same intent, and we're all protecting the country while bringing in enormous amounts of FDI. That's the challenge for us, but that's the opportunity for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thanks very much, Sunifai. As we look ahead with this sentiment of togetherness, I thank you all. It's very clear from the plenary and the five panelists that the new government that has taken office is clear that there are underlying challenges built over the last many, many years. But we take a pragmatic and logical approach where we see every challenge as an opportunity to thrive and build the nation together, an opportunity to solve the problems, an opportunity to create jobs, and an opportunity to support business with policy facilitation. Every one of you here, you have a story of success, a story of resilience, and a story of building this nation together. We, as an elected government, with the support of the people, want to have this cohesion and want to have a series of dialogues and consultations where the aspirations of the businesses, both local and international, will be transpired into how we formulate policies and how we implement it nationwide. Many of the foreign investors here, in your own respective countries, you represent Bangladesh, you represent the aspirations of our people, and you circulate the Made in Bangladesh slogan. So we believe in you as the brand ambassador of Bangladesh in your respective countries, and will do everything possible, as our panelists have said, under the leadership of our visionary Prime Minister, who has articulated and given the policy guideline where it has to be facilitating towards businesses, towards entrepreneurs, towards industries for Bangladesh, which promote jobs, which promotes commerce, which promotes trade, which promotes investment. And for that journey, we want to work together. We want to build the country for inclusion, for togetherness, and for a notion where there will be more fairness and justice as well. I thank you all, and having this opportunity from FICCI of taking this moderator role after many, many years, but thank you so much for this opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mahathir Amin, and thanks to all our distinguished panelists for such an important and constructive discussion. You may take your seats now. Your insights reflect the importance of continued collaboration between the government, policymakers, regulators, and the investor community. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now take 2 minutes to rearrange the stage. Your patience and tolerance in this regards will be highly appreciated. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now our highest honor to invite the Honorable Prime Minister of the People's Republic of Bangladesh, Mr. Tariq Rahman, to deliver his speech. With a round of applause, please welcome the Honorable Prime Minister.
Please have your seats. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Distinguished guests, excellencies, friends from the international community, respected business leaders, members of foreign investors, Chamber of Commerce and Industry, development partners and honored guests. Assalamu alaikum and a warm good morning to you all. It is an honor and privilege to join you today. As I look across this room, I see some of the best and brightest business executives, investors and experts. Many of you have seen Bangladesh as a place to invest and grow your business. Your investment have created jobs, introduced new technologies, strengthened global supply chains, and contributed to Bangladesh's economic progress. For that, I extend my sincere gratitude. Before entering politics, I also started my career as a businessman. From my experience, I have learned that business do not succeed only because of entrepreneurial credential or political promises. They partly succeed because of the government policies that support growth. Today, I would like to share something with you. The new forward-looking BNP government wants your companies to invest and expand in Bangladesh. Whether you are a local entrepreneur or a foreign investor. When you invest in Bangladesh, our government will invest in you through our time, support and policies. This is a commitment we will try our best to keep, inshallah. Ladies and gentlemen, Bangladesh has many challenges, but it also has remarkable strengths. We have a large and fast-growing domestic market, a young and hard-working population, a strategic location, and an elected government with overwhelming public support. Together, these strengths position Bangladesh for sustained prosperity. Our vision is to build a rules-based, globally connected, private sector-driven economy. Our election manifesto provides a clear roadmap for economic transformation. We invite you not only to invest in Bangladesh, but also to become partner in delivering that vision. Our government has completed 5 months in office, but our policy preparation began long before the election. We listened to investors, entrepreneurs, business associations, economists, development partners, and business leaders. Their message was clear. Bangladesh needs stronger legal protection for investment, modern regulatory framework, simpler tax system, easier profit repatriation, deeper capital market, and better infrastructure, of course. Dear investors, we listened carefully and now we are acting accordingly. We are modernizing our legal and regulatory framework, strengthening investor protection, improving dispute resolution, simplifying tax and VAT administration, and making it easier to repatriate profits. We are also developing a stronger capital market, encouraging startups, reducing unnecessary regulation, cutting red tape, simplifying government procedures, and digitizing public services. At the same time, we are improving ports, logistics, infrastructure, and energy security, while encouraging greater investment in renewable energy. Our government is determined to build a $1 trillion economy by 2034. Our first budget provides targeted incentives for priority sectors, including renewable energy, pharmaceuticals, electronics, digital services, agro-processing, advanced textile, healthcare, and logistics. We are positioning Bangladesh as a manufacturing hub, expanding and diversifying our ready-made garment industry, and investing in the skills, know-how, and technologies needed for human capital development. Ladies and gentlemen, Bangladesh's future depends not only on attracting investment, but also on building lasting partnership. I invite every business leaders in this room to become part of that future. Together, we can build an economy that is stronger, equitable, and inclusive. I welcome all of you to invest and flourish in Bangladesh. Let us grow together, create jobs, and shape Bangladesh. Let us become partners in building a prosperous and globally connected Bangladesh. Thank you very much, and I wish you all the very best in our collective journey ahead. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Honorable Prime Minister, for your inspiring words and valuable guidance, requesting you to please remain on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the presentation of the FDI report. May I request the following distinguished representatives to kindly join the Honorable Prime Minister on stage. Ms. Rupali Haq Chaudhry, President FICCI and Managing Director of Berger Paints Bangladesh Limited. Mr. Deepal Abe Wickrama, Senior Vice President of FICCI and Chairman and Managing Director of Nestle Bangladesh PLC. Mr. T.I.M. Nurul Kabir, Executive Director of FICCI. Mr. Shams Zaman, Country Managing Partner, PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC Bangladesh Private Limited, and Dr. Masroor Riaz, Chairman and Founder, Policy Exchange Bangladesh. Ladies and gentlemen, I now request the distinguished representative to present the FDI report to the Honorable Prime Minister. This report represents the insights, recommendations, and aspirations of the investor community and reflects FICCI's continued commitment to strengthening Bangladesh's investment ecosystem. Thank you very much. Requesting distinguished individuals to remain on stage, and I'd like to request Mr. Shams Zaman and Dr. Masroor Riaz to take their seats. We will now move on to the memento presentation, for which I will request the FICCI Executive Board of Directors to kindly come on stage to present the memento to the Honorable Prime Minister.
Dhaka Today, a 24/7 on